What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 3. Well, it's technically our third episode, but it's actually episode 1, part 2 of my conversation with Josh Ellis. And I hope you enjoyed episode 1, part 1, my first part of my conversation with him. I mentioned on episode 1 that we sat down for 2 hours and really had no intention of talking for that long, but we started recording and just talked and talked and talked. And, I think Josh in the first episode shared so much wisdom on his journey that he's been on of finding emotional health, of mental health, and just overall health. And just, it was one of those, like, he and I were talking afterwards, and, I think he would be okay with me sharing this. And Josh, if not, I'm sorry, but I'm going to share it anyways. But he said that he didn't realize how much he needed to hear that the specific day the episode released, everything that he had said. So, like, it was like almost just a message to himself of what he needed to hear that he's already experienced and gone through, but just like needed to be reminded of some of the truths that he shared in that. And so super grateful that he came on and shared all of that. And in this episode, we dive a little more into his work journey, his entrepreneur side, and the stuff he's been involved in building, and kind of goes more into some other stuff from his childhood. And very interesting conversation that we have about business partnerships he has, and the success that he's had with WithCo. And if you've never tried WithCo, I'm just gonna say it. You should try it. You don't have to drink it with alcohol if you're not a drinker, but I think it's an incredible product. So I'm just going to put that stamp of approval right there. I should have a bottle of WithCo sitting right here. I don't have any in my house right now. But without any further ado, this is part 2 of my conversation with my friend, Josh Ellis. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about why. Okay, here's a very serious question, but also joking. Are you a serial entrepreneur?
I guess from a definition, yeah.
What? So before you started WithCo, it wasn't that you weren't successful on a monetary or on a business level. You'd been in the car industry with your dad. You'd been had an insurance career.
Mm-hmm.
You've been a successful realtor. So what led you to starting WithCo when you've been in that? Because I think when I met you, you were on the tail end maybe of your real estate career, probably. So talk a little bit about that.
So the car lot was what was available to me as like a 15 or 16-year-old.
Okay.
Getting up, going to school, then running to the car lot on the weekends, being on the car lot. My dad rented this like 700 square foot dingy shop, but allowed me to detail all the cars.
Dang.
Then I put a sign out that's like, $99 details, started detailing other people's cars. And it's just like, that was just what was available, right? It's not that I didn't have a choice. It just like, I was 15 or 16, yep. Right? Like that was the easy thing.
It was there.
Then May 2010, a flood hit Nashville. Okay. That was wild. Like there were speedboats saving people on Broadway. Like it was like you could ride a boat down Broadway on the interstate. So
crazy, man.
People were on top of their roofs getting saved by helicopters. It was wild. And we lost a lot of the car lot real estate. Cars were going underwater. I mean, water was rising like 6 inches every half hour. We're like carrying titles out. It was a very traumatic. It was my first like real traumatic moment in life. And then within a year, we went bankrupt. And my parents went through a divorce. I went through a divorce. I kind of just saw like the shadow side of entrepreneurship, which is just like it can be really high and it can be really low. So what do I do now? I'm an uneducated 19-year-old kid with hair to my shoulders, nose ring. My ears were gauged. My dad's like, my parents are very much like, they're hippies. So like me and my dad just, we're like, if fit for selling cars, what do I do now? 19, I went and joined an insurance company solely out of just like, I've got to provide. I bought a house like when I was 20 in Franklin. I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. Cut my hair, bought like 5 suits and started selling insurance.
Okay.
I kind of treated that almost like my education. Like, hey, you didn't go to school, but learn how to sell and build like a book of business and get paid to do it. I was the youngest person in the company and the only one without an education. I just basically begged and was like, just give me a chance.
Yeah.
So I think I was short of rookie of the year by like a couple, auto or home policies.
Were you selling personal lines insurance at the time? Okay.
Auto, home, life.
It was a little more fun to sell 15 years ago than it is right
Yeah. And like anything, I always had like my style to it. Like I didn't look like your typical car salesman / like, working on a car lot. Definitely did not look like your typical insurance agent, but I like always made it look branded or look cool and did it my own way. And I think there was a level of like, oh, this kid's cool. Let's switch over our insurance, whatever. The real estate thing, I just saw the future in Nashville and was like, okay, that feels like it could be a great avenue. Again, back then I was the only realtor in a coffee shop. Now I'd be the only one not a realtor in the coffee shop because Nashville has so many realtors. But everybody looked like their mother or father's real estate agent. Just very antiquated.
Oh, good Lord.
This was what, 2014?
Okay.
Or no. Jeez, everything had just blurred when I started coming up with the year. It was probably 2013 or 14 is when I got licensed.
And that's like, we moved here in 15, and that was I feel like middle of that first rise of real estate.
Yeah, I mean, it was like from an economic standpoint, you could tell it was happening, but from like people all getting licensed, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it was still like, hey, we're on the cutting edge. I started this Instagram called Nashville TN, and I was like, showcasing like cool coffee shops, restaurants. But then I would just drop in a really like cool mid-century house because people were following it to learn things about Nashville. This was like way on the early stages of like a feature account that a city might have. So I was growing this thing really quick. I would drop a cool house, get like 3 DMs. Hey, we want to see this. So that's how I got all my real estate in the business for the first 2 years.
Dang.
Was just through Instagram.
That's so crazy, dude.
And I think I replaced the insurance income in like the first 6 months in real estate. And I was like, whoa, I was selling something that people hate to buy. Now I'm selling something people love to buy.
Yep.
And instead of making $80 commission, I can make like $15,000 or $12,000. Wow. So I went down that road, started like did our own branding, our own design, started a team called Simple House, where it was just like, helping people make simple investments into real estate. So then we started working with investors, and it kind of like we made it our own, and it was fun and I loved it. And then somewhere along the lines, some bartender reached out to the Instagram account, said, hey, I just moved to Nashville. I don't know anybody. Can I buy you coffee? I'm like, absolutely. So we go to coffee, have a good time, great dude. And honestly, I didn't know if our paths would cross again.
Okay.
But then June 7th was my birthday. I was having a party in the backyard, and I was like, man, we should have a bartender. That should be really cool. So I call him up. I gave him a day's notice. He's like, dude, I can't be there, but let me do something. Just don't worry about the drinks. I'm like, all right. So I called Nicole. I'm like, hey, this dude's coming over. Met him once. He's cool. Just let him in the house. So when I get to the birthday party, there's this self-serve cocktail bar on our back porch. And it had these little like handwritten cards that were like, pour ounce and a half of this, ounce and a half of this, stir or shake. And it was like a build your own cocktail bar in the backyard.
No way.
And I was like, this is amazing. These were like $15, $16 cocktails that he was serving in restaurants. These were all his recipes, and they had like lavender and lemon and rose petal, like real like ingredients. It was like a garden to glass experience because he's like hand picking mint. It's like real cucumber, all that. So we have like this amazing party. And then he and I, after a wild phone call of like, hey, I started an LLC. Let's create a business, put like $1,000 in it. And we started this business of taking his recipes out of the bar, putting them in a bottle so people at home could host and create cocktails with company. And that's what WithCo stands for, is with company. So it was always about this hosting, building community around a well-made drink, but not having to do all the hosting headaches, like recipes off Pinterest, or buying like most things on the market at that time were like, look like a plastic bottle of car coolant. Like they were just, you didn't want to consume them. So we were like, what if we just make like the healthiest version with
And they didn't taste good either.
No, they didn't taste good. So yeah, that was, I think it was 3 years of us just doing it as a side hustle, selling out of like the trunk of the car with a square reader.
Jeez.
Just, I was doing real estate. He was running restaurants. And yeah, I just had this moment where I was like, I think I'm about ready to like stir some shit up again. And it was about 5 years. It feels like I have these like 5-year cycles
Okay.
where it was like, I was doing auto or selling the cars and then insurance. It was like going into my 5th year. I'm like, all right, something bigger, something crazy. Jumped into real estate about 5 years in, started thinking about the beverage thing. I was like, what if I did that full time? I could learn how to raise money. I could learn how to hire people. I could build something from scratch.
Yeah.
That seems really scary. And I just love the idea of being scared, like just like not knowing and the discomfort, almost just like that, like rebellious edge of like, oh, the more it feels uncomfortable, probably the
Yep.
better and the more exciting it'll be. I've learned a lot from choosing
Yeah.
those things. Talking about choose your heart. So in March of 2020, or actually rewind a little bit, I met a guy who was using WithCo at events, took me out for dinner once. And was like, hey, I think you should go full time in this. And it was just what I needed to hear.
Yep.
And he goes, but 3 things have to happen. Number 1, you need to sell your rental property and use that money to like bankroll your family for 6 months because you're not going to make any money in the beginning.
Oof.
Number 2, you have to quit real estate full time because this company is going to need all your attention. And number 3, you got to go home and make sure your wife's on board. And if all 3 of those are good, then I'll meet with you every week here at the Standard and help you come up with a list of things you need to do. You go do them, come back next week. We go through the list and we create a new list. And right away, I was like, okay, if I had some accountability,
Yeah.
I might actually be willing to do this. So I stood up with my hand out and I said, I'll see you next Monday. And I went home and talked to my wife, sold that house and quit real estate.
Dang.
So I came off of like, I was making a couple $100,000 that year in real estate. Like it was at its best time it ever been. And I just swiped the whole slate and was like, I'm going to go reinvent myself. And stop listening to like real estate investing podcasts, started listening to Beverage Founder and Consumer Packaged Goods podcast. And I just became like this practitioner of like, this is who I am. Now talk about like the image thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like I'm about to go through this again in a way, but like back then it was like, all right, I now have to change the perception of how people think about me.
Yep.
Do not call me well, at the time I was like, I'll still sell your house.
Yeah.
But it was like, I now have to reinvent myself as this person, this beverage founder, get on podcasts, start talking, start building out loud,
Yeah.
share it on social, like share the journey, all that. And that's what I started doing. And in April of 2020, we were probably doing like $5,000 or $6,000 a month as a company. I sold my car, bought a box van. I'm driving like door to door liquor stores, just trading cash for cases.
Dang.
Hey, do you want to buy this? Sure. And then I met a gentleman named Chandler Welling, and he had an agency in Franklin. After meeting him one time, he invited me to go to LA to like some e-commerce conference that he was speaking at. I was exposed to this whole other world. And then the next month, after launching some ads online, it went to like $60,000 a month in 30 days, and then $70,000, $80,000. And, we sold over $1 million worth of product like over the course of 8 months. Every friend that was losing their job during COVID, we were hiring them the next day in the warehouse. Like we didn't spend a day at home in COVID because of COVID reasons.
That's
like it was,
so
and
insane.
we also were we're a little pessimistic about the whole thing anyways.
That's fair.
But
And I think looking back, everybody
there's
kind
such
of
a demand because everyone was stuck at home.
Yep. Right.
So instead of spending money on going out into restaurants, they're buying anything and everything they can to make staying at home feel a little bit more exciting.
Yeah.
So being able to make cocktails at home, it was like there was such a boom in it. And it was a wild ride. It still is a wild ride. But I think it was almost like this idea of like, I want to go do something bigger and scarier than just like, hey, let me show you a house.
Yeah.
You buy it, I make money, on to the next. It was like, let's go build something that can be way bigger than that. And and not being someone that didn't really find that classroom education as like something that worked for me. I really chose it as what am I going to learn by going and building this beverage thing? I'm going to learn a ton of things I've never learned. So a lot
Yeah.
of it has always been this pursuit of self-induced education. Like, let me go throw myself into something, and then I'll become an expert in it. And it's really, I mean, I never thought I would know this much about beverage, and I never thought I would be in beverage, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. I just wanted to create more of these with company moments in people's backyards
That's
all
so
across
cool,
the
though.
country.
Yeah.
So the compass has always been about building community, and then the byproduct has just been, what we do. I think is build community around a great drink. How we do that is bottling, a non-alcoholic
Well,
cocktail mixer.
and I think two things on that note. You know, I am a I don't know, not connoisseur is not the right word. I'm a bourbon fiend is probably the fairest way to put it. Where like, especially during COVID, dude,
Yeah.
if I could go find a bottle somewhere, I
Yeah.
was going.
Yeah.
And then I got sick of the market and I just quit. But it's because like I enjoy that a cocktail, a bourbon or whatever it is with friends. Like that's sitting around having a great drink with friends, I think is one of the most pure forms of community that you can have. And like if you don't drink, that's fine. Like I mean, I know some people don't.
You can use it without liquor
Yeah,
too.
right. And like, which I think is really cool. But those moments where it's like the simplistic. One of our mutual friends, Kelly, is one of the most present individuals I've ever met in my entire life. And so, like, the reason I say that is like, I think what happens in these moments with community, and the reason I bring him up is because the amount of times he's sat at my house and been on his phone, I think is one.
Yeah.
And he's been in my house hundreds of times and he just does it like, and I think that's what happens, with WithCo is like, it creates this moment of presence
Yeah.
where like that true community where like everyone is engaged in this moment. And the second thing, did you ever think when you said in 2020, I'm going to go full time in this thing that you were going to do a collaboration with the country music superstar?
No. Matter of fact, I didn't even want to have anybody of like a clout, I guess,
Yeah.
because of how much that happens now in the beverage space. It's like lost its impact to be like, oh, so and so starting a tequila brand. You're
Oh,
like,
dude.
go figure.
Every time you turn around someone, and I've only had one good tequila that someone has, like a celebrity has started.
Well, as after the Casamiga acquisition, which was like 22 times their revenue. So it was like, oh, there's money here.
Yep.
And then it just was like, yeah, until it's done too much.
Yep.
Like it's overdone. No, that was a wild thing. I don't listen to country. I'm from Nashville. Like it did not really fit.
Yeah.
But I remember finding out that Dirks was, I knew his name, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
It's a big name, but like I wouldn't have known like Drunk on a Plane or any of his hits because I
Okay.
just didn't listen to that stuff.
I mean, you have to admit though, that song's fire.
Yeah. and he's a pilot. He flies his band around, which is really cool.
Okay, so I'll interrupt you real quick. I have a friend who plays in his band, has for as long as
Yeah. He's probably one of the best parts of the band. Sorry, Dirks. You're good too. But
I love Tim so much.
Yeah.
Tim, if you ever hear this, I love you. You're the best. We're from like 30 minutes away from each other. And we had a mutual friend. We got connected. He came to play golf, whatever. One of my favorite stories with him, and I hope he doesn't get mad at me for telling this, but he came to the golf course I was working at the time. And it was like a Tuesday morning. I said, man, what's up? He's like, yeah, we just flew back on Dirk's plane last night. We had a show in Dallas. And I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. And then he's like, I'm like, what, like, what's next? He's like, oh, we're flying to Gillette on Thursday to play, or we're flying to Foxborough to play Gillette with Kenny on Thursday. And I looked at him, and this was 2016 or 17 probably. And I'm like, the normalcy you just said that with is one of my favorite things about this city.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, he's like, it's my life. I'm like, no, that's what I respect about it. I'm like, that's my story about how I know Dirks
That's funny.
is a pilot. But anyways, continue.
So he had overnighted some product, or we had found out that someone overnighted our product to their green room, and it was like a really big deal. And like, I was like, that's cool. So a few weeks later, I was like, I wonder who that was, just out of curiosity. And they were like, it was Dirks Bentley. And I'm like, oh, he lives in Nashville.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like when you find out somebody that most people know love the product, it's just like a moment. You're like, that's interesting. Well, about 6 months later, I was like, you know what? We want to do a fundraise soon. I'm like, I don't just want to take money to take money. I want more strategic money. And I was like, all right, I'm going to reverse search his manager's name and find her number like I used to do in real estate. And I'm going to call her. So I called her, didn't answer. I was like, all right. So I sent a text. She didn't respond. And then randomly a week later, or 2 weeks later, I'm like, I didn't really care. Like, this has to happen type.
Yeah.
It wasn't any of that,
Yeah.
but it was like, I'm going to shoot another text and then I'm going to let this go. So I sent a text. She's like, I'll call you this afternoon. I'm like, oh, well, I guess I had the right number. So she calls.
awesome.
And I remember when I introduced myself, I said, my name is Josh. I'm the co-founder of a beverage brand called WithCo. And she cut me off and was like, look, I already know what WithCo is. Everybody in this organization knows what WithCo is. They drink WithCo. They love WithCo. Dirks is like the biggest fan of WithCo. Like, wow, that's cool. She's like, I think she said like I have WithCo like right here in whatever room she was in. And so we start talking about all these ideas. We could do this, we could do that. And I remember saying, she was like, what are your thoughts? And I said something along the lines of, honestly, if he and I could be friends, then I think we could come up with some cool things to do. But like, let's see if we like each other.
Okay.
Let's see if there's a friendship here, because that to me, like WithCo, the name originally was Kindred Spirits. It's what the LLC is.
Okay.
And I've always just like been like, that's how we should make decisions with people that come in. Is there that kindred spirit, that like that similarity, that similar values? Some might say that was maybe a bold thing, but I was like, this is just who I am. I'm going to stay true to this. So she's like, let me see if he's interested. So she texted me that night. I was at a bonfire at my house with a bunch of guys, and she's like, how's Wednesday at 3? And I remember texting back going, let me see what Wednesday looks like, and I'll get back to you guys.
Yeah.
Because again, I was like, dude, just be true to who you are. I really don't care how much money someone has or how well known they are. Like, I'm going to treat this the same way.
Yep.
So he came into the office, and there's some details that I can't share, but like some real like chilling hair stand up moments that happened that were just so synergetic. It felt so right. A week later, he's back in the office with his wife, his manager, his finance team, and we literally sit in our office bar, tell the whole story, drink a ton of WithCo. We're like ending the night cheersing in the warehouse. Like, it was almost as if there was like almost like the concrete was starting to dry even before we had even talked about what was next.
That's
like
so
you could
cool,
just
dude.
feel it.
That's so cool.
And I realized that Dirks is actually the biggest WithCo fan I'd ever met.
No way.
WithCo bar backstage, even before knowing me.
Dang,
It was a WithCo bar backstage. He was drinking it on stage. The wild thing is, he went on a 2-year streak without drinking. He likes choosing these challenging things. Like, he loves mountain bike riding, and he'll like go on these like cell phone detoxes, and just like he chooses these things that are difficult, but he knows they're good for him. Well, one of them was not drinking. So he didn't drink for 2 years. He almost drank WithCo every single day with soda water for 2 years. So his whole, like, he fell in love with it.
I respect that.
Without even having experienced it the way that it was intended to be.
That's so crazy.
And he's like, of course, when I put tequila in it, I realized it's a lot better that way.
It's a little
like,
better. Yeah.
That's, and his wife was drinking it, Cassidy, and it's just like, was this moment where this guy is drinking WithCo with company, even without knowing who I am. He's hosting backstage. He's hosting on stage. He's drinking a non-alcoholic WithCo when he flies his band back and forth. And
that's cool.
And like deep down, I was like, this is a kindred spirit. This is someone who you make a deal with because they're a great person. Anyone I talked to had nothing but great stories to say about him. He's really connecting the community. I mean, even my manufacturer was like, oh, I played hockey with Dirks. I'm like, it felt, there was all these little like
awesome.
green light, like Matthew McConaughey's book, like identifying these little green lights. I'm like, dude, there's 100 green lights ahead of me. And it just felt right.
Dang.
So he ended up investing, our biggest investor in the company, came on as a strategic partner. And I can't not share this without telling this story. So I remember one day he's like, hey, so a good buddy of mine's the CEO of Walmart. I'm going to see if I can set up a meeting. I'm like, okay, this is why I brought this guy in.
Dang.
Like he's just super well connected. So next thing I know, I'm going to the private airport at BNA, getting on a plane, a Cessna Citation, like CJ4, I think it was, maybe a CJ2.
Okay.
Great plane, huge plane.
Yeah. It's not a small private
Dirks
plane.
is like, all right, let's roll. And he gets up in the front, gets behind the in the cockpit, and me and my COO are just in the back, like, what the hell are we doing? This is
It's insane,
insane. And we
dude.
flew from Nashville to Bentonville, Arkansas, pretty much walked through a side door. And the next thing you know, we're sitting in a conference room with the CEO and the adult beverage team, Dirks, myself, and CEO. It just was like, wow, this is, you didn't invest because he's a country music artist. Because, you know, he invested financially, but I invested obviously equity and just belief.
Yep.
You invested for this moment, these moments where you're investing in the relational equity that he has, that he has spent a lifetime building that level of trust and that reputation. And then we launched in Walmart like 3 or 4 months later. And we're still in Walmart. So it was a real,
so cool, dude.
it was definitely a tentpole moment. Like there's a lot of great things that have happened in the life cycle of my last 5 years of doing this, but like super tentpole moment. Just geeking in the air, smiling big. We poured WithCo on the way back, and we're just looking out the window like, wow, this is wild. So yeah, it was a really fun season for sure.
Dude, that's so cool though.
And there was a moment, probably the scariest moment I'd ever experienced in the business was I owed our manufacturer a chunk of money, but Target owed me even more money, but it was like net 90, meaning they were going to pay for 3 months,
right?
But I needed it now. And I called everybody I normally would. Hey, can I borrow 100 grand? Can I borrow 100 grand? Like just desperate because my manufacturer wasn't able to make payroll. So now, shoot, I'm now having a ripple effect on many families.
Yeah.
And, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but it is what it is. But anyways,
those are the best things to say.
About an hour and a half after meeting Dirks, he helped alleviate that pain point.
Dang, dude.
And we had only known each other for about an hour and a half. And I just cried because it wasn't that it wasn't so much like he helped me.
Yeah.
It was that the pressure that I felt of affecting the manufacturer's payroll and his family's was like, from a character standpoint, it just was so heavy that I was like, oh my gosh, it started off in just like such an emotional high.
Yeah.
That the later investment ended up just meaning so much more because his belief in it so early. So yeah, really cool, awesome experience. I've been able to do some fun things, go to cool shows, and went out to Red Rocks, and you know, it's awesome that, I mean, somewhere right now he's on tour and there's, you know, probably 70 people backstage just drinking WithCo. He launched a whiskey company, so a lot of WithCo and Row 94 overlap. So
that's so sick. Wild. That's so crazy. I'd heard about his whiskey stuff before it happened, but I had it was one like you just hear in passing. It's like, hey, this is gonna come. But man, we literally could sit here talking for hours.
That's the thing. When I get on a podcast, I'm always like, how long do you want this to be? Because it may be a little bit longer.
And I'm okay with that.
To happen.
No, I'm okay with that. But like, the thing I love about living, I mean, you were born and raised here in Nashville. I've been here for 10 years. So one thing I love about this city is the people like Dirks. I've personally never met him. I have mutual friends with him, you know, clearly. But the people like him and so many in the same realm of influence as him, they're the best people in the world. Yeah. They're not, like, even the fact, to your point, like, the guy's sitting there drinking backstage and doesn't just call you because he's like, oh, I need something new to invest in. It's like, no, like, I love your product. Yeah. And it's like, hey, and then I had no clue that was called Kindred Spirits first.
Yeah. So that is till technically, from as far as the IRS is concerned, it's still the name of the company.
The DBA WithCo.
Yeah. We just couldn't, I mean, it's a common phrase, right? It's a biblical phrase. There's import, export, spirit company. Like, we couldn't trademark it. Yep. And I remember when the phrase WithCo got brought up, I was like, absolutely not. That's just like a made up sound, kind of like somebody made it up. And I was like, imagine changing your child's name at 3. It would just, there's a disconnect. Yeah. I was like, it just doesn't feel right. And then it just like grew on me. I was like, well, Nike is a weird name, phrase, sound. Yep. It meant nothing until it does. And I was like, man, but it doesn't really matter, because I was so fixated on just the sound of it. But I was like, it's shorter, it's easy to remember. And then then what really connected is I was like, and it means what we stand for with company.
Yep.
And I was like, so it was almost like I needed that emotional connect to
Yep.
be like, ooh,
makes sense.
all right. You know what? I like this actually. That's a good name. And then we were like, we trademarked it and so forth. But yeah.
Dude. Well, I mean, and to your point, once you start something with a name, if you have to try to change it with the IRS and all of that, is an absolute nightmare. So a DBA is just the easiest thing to do, which is a very minute thing. But all right, so before we wrap up,
hold on, before we change topics.
Okay, I need you to
tell you something about my childhood and name changes.
Okay, I can't wait.
I was not born Josh Ellis.
No way.
I was born Taylor Collins Ellis. That's my birth name.
Okay, now you have to tell.
Let's move on.
So, okay, we don't have to get into the nitty-gritty.
I'll give you the high level because I was like, you just said something about like, it's like changing your child's name. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, your parents did that to you. And that's a great story.
Dang.
Oh, it's actually the third time I've told this in a week because I met 2 Taylors last week. And I don't know why when I meet a Taylor, I'm like, hey, my name's and then I'm like, you can't say that to somebody and then be like, wait, let me tell the rest of the
Wait, your
story.
name's Josh. Like, what? Okay.
So when my mom and dad, so now I got to go way back, but I'll whatever. I'm not going to feel like I have to end this podcast shortly or anything. Let's just go for it.
All right, let's do it.
So my dad grew up, went through a lot of different adoption, like just kind of was in that cycle and had a few different names as he changed from family to family. And when he was, I'm going to have to ask him the exact age because I always get confused with this. Somewhere around like 17 to 21.
Yeah.
He's driving somewhere out in LA and he's like, I need a stage name because he was in a band.
Okay.
And I think probably deep down, he almost wanted like an identity that was his versus like, you know, these other names that were given to him. So he's like, Josh, that's a strong name. And, you know, back then there was no Joshes, you know, like it wasn't a common name. So he picked Josh, and I think he had the likings to a girl in his life at that time named Cindy Ellis. So he was like, Ellis, that sounds cool. So he made up Josh Ellis, just driving down the road.
That was your dad's stage name?
Yeah. So he chose, and it's not the same band, but his band at the time's name was Bush. Not the same Bush, but as the band today. But yeah, he made up Josh Ellis on the spot. He meets my mom, and I actually didn't know my brother was my half brother until I was like a teenager.
Okay.
And it's nothing like changes. It's just like a historical fact.
Yep.
Well, my mom had a son, and his name was Josh. At like I think age 5 they met.
Okay.
So my dad ended up adopting my brother.
Okay.
So there's 2 Joshes. Okay. When my brother was about 19 or 20, he had a son. And if you could guess, he named him Joshua Caleb Ellis.
Okay.
He went by Caleb his whole life.
Okay.
Until like a little after high school, all of his friends started calling him Josh. But like
it's kind of funny how that happens.
Call him Caleb.
Yeah. Okay.
The family does.
Yeah.
But again, there's 3 Joshes before I become Josh. So of the siblings, the one right above me, my sister, her name was Jenna and my name was Taylor. I don't know why my parents both had like this revelation, this feeling, this word that they were supposed to give us biblical names.
Okay.
And I'm in 3rd grade.
Oh my word.
So they come, imagine a 3rd grader processing
you're like 9
information, and your parents are like, hey, we feel like we're supposed to give you biblical names. And all you hear is, you're going to let me change my name? Hell yeah. So they give me a book that's Men of the Bible, give my sister Women of the Bible. And they're like, we want you to read through this and like find one and we'll pray about it. And like, we'll, not just like flip and put your finger down and be like, that's it.
It would be even better if you had done that.
Yeah. Like Job.
if you just, dude, you
my
end up
whole life, people are calling
all of a
me
sudden
Job.
you're 9 and you're Methuselah.
Yep.
David, my buddy David's recording this. Can you imagine at 9?
Sorry, Josh is now
You're Methuselah. It's now
Josh is now Goliath. Welcome to class. So in 3rd grade, we went to the courthouse in downtown Franklin around the square. We did the whole legal process, got a second birth certificate, got a second
Dude,
passport,
oh my
all of
gosh.
that. My sister went from Jenna to Hannah, and I went from Taylor Collins Ellis to Joshua Isaiah Ellis. My parents really liked Isaiah. And I was like, I'll give you one. You can have my middle name.
I'll give you one.
Hindsight, I actually wish that I had gone by Isaiah my whole life because it just, now I hang out. Some days when I'm hanging out with family and we have some friends, there's like 6 or 7 Joshes.
Oh, that's the most
all
confusing.
together. Yeah. So I remember being up in the front of the classroom in 4th grade. The teacher pulls me up, same school, and says, "Hey, everybody, Taylor is now Josh." Like I can see the looks on these kids' faces when they're like,
Dude.
"I want to change my name." Like same sports teams, coach is like, "Good, Josh, good job." Like how
Dude.
everything had to reframe.
That's
And then to think
incredible.
about now that I'm a parent, I always knew my experience of it, which was a little bit wild and
Yeah.
cool. But then I think about my parents' experience of like, I feel like they were on the bleachers and there had to be the other parents, like they just changed their kids' names. Like, what's going on with the Ellises? Like, why did they do this? So it's funny when people find out there's 4 Joshes in my family.
That's wild.
All the guys, all the Ellises are all Joshes. But when you hear the full story, it makes it more interesting because it wasn't by design.
What,
It wasn't like, let's all be Joshes.
when
It's
like what's even more crazy is that it was your dad's stage name.
yeah, not even an origin of an Ellis. Like I'll meet an Ellis and they're like, "Do you think?" I'm like, "No, not at all.
absolutely.
This is all
no
made
chance.
up." They're
Was-
like, was he in witness protection?" I'm like, "No, just a stage name."
So you talk about your parents being on the bleachers in 3rd grade and being like, and people being like, they changed names. So when I was in 1st grade, my born name is Jacob Neil Lawrence Law, and so all of my sisters, we all have 4 names. We have our first name, 2 middle names, and they're all my first name is biblical, and I'm not sure why my parents named me Jacob. I'm actually a little mad at my grandfather. I'll tell you why. So my grandfather, my dad's side, his name is George Clay Law, which I think is just the freaking coolest name in the world. And my dad has 5 older siblings, and right after the 3rd was born, my grandfather got saved, became a pastor, and so all their names shifted to biblical names. So no one is named after my grandfather. And so my dad's name is Paul Mark Law.
Okay.
And I give my dad the hard time. I'm like, could you have a wider name? I'm like, so now we're having our second son, and my wife and I are talking like, what are we gonna name him and all this stuff. And everyone's throwing these names out. And my 7-year-old is throwing out the most insane names. I love him to death. And I'm just like, dude, I love you. But so I'm like, Dad, why couldn't you have been George Clay Law II? I would have been George Clay Law III, and now I'd be having a 4th. I'm like, can we go back to
Hey,
1972?
it's cool. You can change your name whenever you want.
Honestly, I'm gonna go home.
Dad,
and
I'm changing your name. I'm changing my name.
I'm gonna go home and tell my wife that I'm becoming George Clay just so that I can have it George Clay.
What's
So
your podcast name? It's like a stage.
see, I like that. I don't hate it. So in 1st grade though, I was Jacob in my first 5 years of my life, or 7 years, I guess. And I'm at school one day, and my mom's sitting there talking to one of my buddy's dads, and he said something about Jake, and my mom goes, "Who's Jake?" And he's like, or she said Jacob, and he goes, "Who's Jacob?" And she's like, "My son." And he's like, "I thought that was Jake." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" So apparently somewhere in 1st grade, I go to school and I'm no longer Jacob, I'm Jake, and I've been Jake ever since.
That's funny.
And so it's like, there's like some people who knew me from like way back in like early childhood that I'm Jacob. So it's not as good as going from Taylor to Joshua.
Every now and then,
But-
if I hear someone call me Taylor, I turn slow and I'm like, they must be from that cult-like neighborhood I talked about when I was a kid.
Oh, like neighborhood, it's
because they all knew me as
good.
Taylor. Well, what's funny is Joshua Isaiah Ellis is
Yeah.
what I thought it was.
Okay.
It's what my driver's license says. But I needed my like birth certificate. Like, I don't know. I like moved out and left it at my parents.
Okay.
This was like probably 8 or 10 years ago. I was like, hey, can I get that? I get it. And it says Joshua Isaiah Collins Ellis. I'm like, wait, why is my old middle name in here? My mom's like, that's my maiden name. We wanted to keep it. I'm like, why didn't you tell
What?
me?
Dude, you're in your 30s.
So now I'm
and-
like, now I have another middle name. So it's funny. My daughter's name is Paloma and her middle name's Collins. So we
Okay.
like passed
Yeah.
it on.
Well,
But
and what's hard about 2 middle names is none of my stuff has my second middle name on it.
me neither.
And I also am 31. I still don't know how to spell my second middle name. It's a family name, and it's Lawrence, and it's not spelled like
Lawrence.
it's not
different.
spelled like you would think. So like
Yeah.
my great uncle's name was my uncle's name was Lawrence, went by Larry. I had another great uncle or something. His name was Lawrence. And so it's like, it's this family name passed down. And so my wife is like, how do you not know how to spell your middle name? And I just prefer not to be asked questions about it. I'm from West Virginia. That's my excuse.
Love it.
So, all right. So before we wrap up, I have a question. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this.
Good.
And this is where the comedic side comes in. But do you have anything else you want to add? I feel like we've covered. I feel like this has given a
here and
great
be like,
picture of
oh,
you.
I have 100 things, but right now I don't feel like there's anything.
Well, the good news is that I will come sit down with you anytime you want to, and we can keep talking.
Good.
And we will talk about this anytime you want. All right. So what we almost called the podcast was I said what I said. And I'll tell you the reason why is because the amount of times I will look at my wife or friends and I go, I didn't stutter. I said what I said. And then I started looking up and there's a bunch of podcasts named that. I like to be original. And so I can't have a name that's already used. So what I decided to do instead was to have a segment of each episode called I Said What I Said. And I need you to give your best hot take right now. And it can be serious. And here's the thing I want you to understand. I have some very offensive hot takes. Not like offensive in the sense of not like bad offensive, but just like people hate that I say it. And I firmly believe it. So like it can be serious. It can be funny. I don't care what it is. I just need your best I said what I said right now.
Honestly, I am blank. I've had an answer for every single thing on this podcast. And then you throw one question. I'm like, give me an example.
Okay. I'm going to put myself on blast right now, and I'm going to offend 98% of the population in Nashville. And so I'm not going to say the name of the company yet, but there is a sweet treat company in Nashville that I think is absolute trash.
But it's absolutely everywhere.
And it's everywhere. And let me tell you why I think this.
Is it in a donut form or an ice cream form?
Second answer. So David's sitting here just shaking his head at me. I'll tell you why. And here's my reason why. I grew up in a town that has a homemade, like hand-spun traditional ice cream shop. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. Like, I mean, it's called Austin's Homemade Ice Cream. And if you're ever in West Virginia, if you're ever in Huntington, you have to, it's like literally like it's the smallest, like sketchy looking building and the best ice cream. My dad makes homemade ice cream. Has this family recipe. It's been the family for years. If you have to, I'm going to piss so many people.
I'm going to let you be my hot take.
Okay. It's okay. I've been holding this in for a long time.
What am I going to say?
I've been holding this in for a long time. If you have to make everything bagel ice cream to sell ice cream flavors, I am of the belief I don't think your ice cream is that good. Mm. And so there's people I know that love it. And if the CEO of Jenny's here, just please don't send me a cease and desist. Please don't sue me. This is all in good fun and in love.
It's just an opinion.
It's just my personal opinion that I think Cold Stone's better. Like, and this is a personal thing. I want cookie dough ice cream. I'm a cookie dough ice cream. Like, that's just, I don't know why.
Come on.
It's just my thing. Like, my grandmother's made me cookie dough milkshakes for the last 30 years. Mm. And I just I want chunks of cookie dough in it. Yep. And I don't want to go get sweet lemon fruity pebble ice cream. I want either.
That like Baskin Robbins TCBY simplicity.
Dude, I went to a Baskin Robbins the other day for the first time, and TCBY is a name I haven't heard in 15 years. My parents live like 2 blocks in West Virginia from a Baskin Robbins, and we walked there the other night, and it was everything I wanted it to be. Mm. When was the last time you went to Cold Stone ice cream?
I don't know if I've ever been. I know what it is.
Dude, okay. I'll tell you a story about it. Cold Stone. My family grew up vacationing in Myrtle Beach. Have you ever been to Myrtle Beach? Okay, if you want to play golf, one of the best places to go. If you want to go to the beach, I just want to go. But as a family, like growing up, my parents met at Myrtle Beach, 34 years ago. So we went there growing up. Well, there's a place there called Broadway at the Beach that it's just like, it's like an outlet kind of deal, but it's just like restaurants, all this stuff. One year we're there, they put in a ice cream place called Cold Stone Creamery, and they have 3 flavors: like it, love it, gotta have it. And you go in, and they've got a cold slab. Yep. It's like marble slab, same thing. Got a cold slab. They put the ice cream on it. They put your mix-ins in it. You can do whatever you want. They've got this ice cream called Cookie Don't You Want Some? And it's a cookie dough ice cream with like fudge and caramel mixed in it with vanilla ice cream. I could go get one right now. It's up there with a Dairy Queen cookie dough blizzard. But so we go, And my dad loves it. My dad loves sweets. He loves it almost as much as he loves hot Krispy Kreme donuts. And so we go to this place. We went 5 straight nights for a week. My dude, and it's probably like $100 in ice cream every single night you go. It's not cheap ice cream, and we go every single night. Oh, and my dad's getting the god. I mean, it's the biggest amount of ice cream. It's like a pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream,
just for a nightcap. Man,
so that is my.
You have a lot of ice cream history.
I have a lot of ice cream history.
It's a core memory. So as a result, you're gonna have some.
I have some
opinions about.
I have very strong opinions. So one time,
when you see a new one, you're like, great, just what we needed. Another one of these in this neighborhood.
Yes. Okay, you know the best ice cream in Nashville? It's not in Nashville. It's in like the surrounding area. So it's like 5 minutes from where our new house is. Have you ever been to Golly G's in Pleasant? So there's one in Pleasant View. There's one or two in Clarksville. I think one in Springfield. I think it's like homemade ice cream, and they've got one of the best cinnamon rolls I've ever had in my life.
You're a sweets guy, aren't you?
Ironically, no.
Just for the right
the right sweets. Yeah. Was like my wife and I went on an anniversary trip to 30A a couple years ago. Have you ever been to 30A in March?
I have been to 30A like at least 40 or 50 times. My family started going down in like 87 before I was born.
No way.
And we just go all the time.
All right, so you've been there every time of the year by this point in time.
Yeah.
So we went for our anniversary in February. It's my favorite place on planet Earth. Like I adore it, and I can't be there enough. There's an ice cream shop there called Blue Mountain Beach Creamery.
Yeah.
Which is, again, some of the best ice cream you could ever have. Well, in February, they're closed.
Pissed.
I was pissed. Had no clue they're closed.
I came all this way for the ice cream, and I brought my wife so we could do the anniversary thing, but I came for this ice cream.
Dude, so we go to, all I wanted was a cookie dough milkshake. That's all I wanted. And their cookie dough milkshake is unreal. So I'm like, they're closed. We go to some other random hole-in-the-wall ice cream place. They're closed. We go to the Big Chill. I don't remember if that's what it was or what it is now. So we go there because there's a milkshake place there. It's closed. I'm like, I understand it's off season, but it's 7:00 at night. Why is nothing open to get ice cream? That started a 6-month span of me not being able to get the ice cream I wanted. I go to a Sonic with my son and some family and order a cookie dough blast or whatever theirs is called. I get an Oreo blast. And I want you to know, I refuse to eat it. So for whatever reason, I have very strong opinions about.
I love it.
About ice cream.
That's a hot take. I wish I'm sitting here like I probably will later. I'll drive and be like, I'm going to text Jake. But
I can't wait.
Right now, I'm like, what really grinds my gears? Or, I mean, not just that, but like what would fall in that similar category?
All right, I'll give you one more. I could go on for a while. Like, people get annoyed at me how
this is going to be its own clip for social.
Oh, 100%.
Cold Stone. And
I'm either going to get like blasted for it and people are going to hate it, or people are going to be like, I'm glad someone finally said it. Okay, this might not be as controversial because I don't think as many people have had it. Villa One's the best celebrity tequila collab. Have you had it? So it's Nick Jonas's tequila. And now, granted, part of that's because I'm a Jonas Brothers stan. Like, I don't know why I'm 31, but I love the Jonas Brothers. I'm going to get you a bottle and bring it to you. Their rep is maybe the best tequila I've ever had.
Done. I'll add it to my collection.
Dude,
not that there's anything worth collecting over there, but you know.
But a collection that's the fun of it. Not everything's. All right, should I give my Christmas hot take? Do you know my Christmas hot take, David? This is going to send people through the roof, and I'm going to say it anyways. I can't give all these away on the first episode, but I'm doing it anyways. I don't think Elf's a good Christmas movie. And I love Christmas. I start watching Christmas movies October 1st.
And that's not in there.
No, I watch it.
You don't think
I just don't think it's great. And like, okay, Josh, seriously. Now, I'll be honest. Half of me saying I don't like it is just to get under people's skin and actually like don't hate it. But when I started telling people this, they lose their minds. They're like, there's no way you love Christmas and hate that movie. But what about a 40-year-old man trouncing around New York City in tights and eating gum off of a handrail.
Looking for a dad that doesn't want him.
Looking for a dad that doesn't like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like, and people are like, it's better than It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm.
And there's just, that's not humanly possible.
No, they're putting it in the classic category when Wonderful Life has always been a classic.
Oh,
Elf's finally getting old enough for people to confuse and blur the lines.
dude.
I don't know. Our thing's always Home Alone and Home
Dude,
Alone
Home
2.
Do your kids love Christmas?
Yeah. I mean, we watch Home Alone like probably between 50 to 60 times because every day they're like, put it on again, like
Yeah.
during the holiday
Oh,
season.
dude. Okay, when do you start watching Christmas movies?
November. We put our tree up like as soon as we can put it up without it dying before Christmas.
You a real tree?
Yeah. So it was a family tradition growing up. So
See, it was for
we
us
always
too.
do. I'm like, got all the sap, a little sticky, cut it down. You know.
Looks great, little full.
Like I think
Lot of
last
sap.
year our tree was $220. It's so insane how much
Good
you're paying
Lord.
for a dead tree, basically.
I think my parents growing up paid $60.
Yeah, so do we
Dude.
growing up.
Yeah, well, I want a real tree, but my wife's allergic. She has really bad allergies, and so, but in our new house, I'm gonna put in the basement just so she can't come down for 3 months. And it's like, I mean, what do you? It's like you have 2,000 square feet upstairs. You need to come downstairs too. That's so awful.
I love it.
Oh, dude, we start watching. Have you? We grew up in the same era. Do you remember? I'll Be Home for Christmas with Jonathan Taylor
We
Thomas.
still watch that.
We still
every
watch
year.
it. Oh, that's like a comfort movie for me. So like when I don't like,
Yeah.
I could go home today. It's the middle of June or end of June, almost July. I could go home and watch it today and just
Yeah.
close the blinds and make.
Jessica, Jonathan
Dude,
Taylor
Jessica.
Thomas.
Dude, that was the height of Jonathan Taylor Thomas too.
Yeah.
We started watching Home Improvement recently.
So did we.
Oh,
Here's the funny thing is we were watching Home Improvement and my 6-year-old was watching. I go, this is insane to me. I go, look, see that? That's the guy from the Christmas movie,
yeah.
thinking she would connect it to the Santa Claus, Tim Allen. And she goes, oh, the one where he gets left in the desert in the Christmas suit. And I'm like, and Jonathan Taylor Thomas in this is
Dude.
probably like 8.
That's the best.
And in I'll Be Home for Christmas, he's probably like 16 or 17. She was like, I could tell from the voice. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was talking about just Tim Allen and the Santa Claus. But the fact that she connected it was like,
I'm so proud of your daughter.
then she connected Tim Allen to like, oh, that's Toy Story too. I'm like, you're amazing. You can tell that that's
so much.
Buzz Lightyear's voice.
Dude.
Anyways,
I could talk about Christmas. We could have a whole episode talking about Christmas movies and Christmas. Here's the last thing I'll say about
All right.
Christmas movies.
oh,
It may be the last thing I'll say. My only complaint with I'll Be Home for Christmas is I cannot figure out, is he in college or boarding school? No one knows the answer to that question.
there's got to be something in that movie that,
I feel like it might say Palisades College or something like that.
yeah, you'd have to look.
But you know, like it's one of those movies where it's like, also, what day does he leave to go home for Christmas, and how many days does it take him to get home? Because you only see like one night, and it's when Eddie and Jessica's character. What's her name in the movie? Why did I just lose Allie? Allie. When Eddie and Allie stay at the Bavarian Village,
Yep.
or there's two.
One of them, he
stay at that
shows up
random
with the
hotel.
fake organ
Oh, dude.
just to get the bus driver to let him come on.
Bro, yes, that is organ donation. Dude, I love Christmas movies, man. Oh, all right. If you don't have a hot take, we can end it there. I'm gonna get roasted by these, but you know what? I stand by it.
Yeah, you got to. A little controversy goes a long way.
A little bit of country goes a long way. Well, Josh, thank you so much for coming on Deepish, man. I can't wait to do it again because I have other questions I want to ask you.
Ask me one like like a closing question with some, I don't know, like a takeaway type of deal.
Okay. Oh man. I have a question I want to ask, but I don't know if it sets you up for a good takeaway to end this. But I'm gonna ask it anyways.
Okay.
I've thought a lot lately, and we don't have to get into like the weeds of this conversation because I don't have an answer for it yet. But I've thought a lot about the concept of being proud of someone. Okay. And I feel like this kind of goes back some to childhood stuff, you having success, all of that. I feel like pride in our culture and people, and we're going to get really serious also, strangely, after all this conversation. I feel like pride is so dependent on you doing what I think is best for you to do. And if you don't do that, then I'm not proud of you. But what I'm trying to think get back to, it's like, I feel like the purest form of pride is parenting.
Mhm.
But I think if we're not careful in parenting, we can only become proud of our children if they do what we want them
Yeah.
to. So like, talk about like, how do you, I'm trying to think, how do we tie this in a little bit? How do you fight to be proud of a human being for who they are, not what they do? Because I feel like that's a lot of what we've talked about today. And like, how can people in our culture like find a way to have a sense of pride in people, not because, oh, they've accomplished X, or oh, they've done this. Like I saw someone recently was like, so proud of this person. I'm like, you're proud of them because they're living life the way you want them to. And I'm like, what about if they're not?
I think it probably goes through the lens of the things that I'm going through and seeing that in someone else. Like I would say years ago, like if somebody just did a capital raise or just had this exciting moment in their business, like it would be easier for me to connect to that because I knew what it probably took, right?
Yeah.
It's more than like, oh, I'm like, it's easier to be proud of somebody when you can understand what it took because you have an experience of that in your own journey. Like I think that to me feels like
I can get that.
Like if someone said they were proud of me, I'm like, I'd feel honored if that was my dad.
Yeah.
Because he's watched who I become, or my mom. Yeah. But if it is somebody from the sidelines, like, dude, that's so awesome, I'm proud, I might actually not even receive it the same way because I'll be like, depending on my relationship with that person, right? It could just be an outsider looking in. Now I feel like a lot of my sense of pride is like around people. And again, like I said, it's probably shifted because it was so business focused and now it's like healing journey focused. Is like watching people start to open the door to do the work, like the hard work, or to start asking questions or be curious. Like I'm actually more proud of somebody being like, I'm finally going to deal with. I love when people say things to me like, I'm going to tell you something I've never been able to tell anybody.
Yeah.
Because I'm too afraid of what they'll think. I'm like, ooh, this will be fun.
Now you know you're getting somewhere with people. Yeah.
And I take a bunch of guys out to this retreat as I'm like one of the hosts now every year. And the amount of them that go, I know that their secret or the thing that they're carrying.
Yeah.
That's like, they have so much shame about or whatever. And then night one, they just share it. And I'm like, oh, I'm so proud that you allowed yourself to lean into something. But what you believed is that it would be too much for all of us to hear.
Yeah.
Oh, that happened to you when you were a kid? That's a little weird. That's too much. I actually love watching people stumble through what they think is the worst thing about them.
Yeah.
Only to find out that that's the freedom that they were seeking.
Dang, dude.
It's like, whoa, the hardest thing actually is your most healing thing.
Yeah.
Like we all hide these things that we think we've been through.
Yeah.
Because we don't want people to truly see us because they may say, oh, that's too much. Or, oh, I don't know if I can be in a relationship because.
We're scared if people see who we truly are that they're going to reject us. And I think as men, that's the biggest thing we fear is rejection.
Yeah. So like being proud of my daughter for getting a good grade. Yeah, that's kind of great because I want that for her. But watching my daughter comfort her sister when she's hurt and going, ooh, that's not like teaching somebody how to pass a test in school. That's like watching someone start to develop a connection of empathy and compassion.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm proud of that. And it's cool when you can see it in kids. It's also cool when you can start to see it in people. And I think, like I said, I don't know if that really answers it, but I think
it does.
The sense of pride that I receive like from a compliment or give to somebody, I feel like is a lot more deep-ish than it might have been in prior years.
1,000%. Well, ladies,
the
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Deepish, episode 1 with Josh Ellis. Josh, thanks so much for coming on.
This is episode 1?
It's episode 1.
Dude, come on.
Let's go.
Set the bar.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on, man. Appreciate it. It means the world. That was part 2 of my conversation with Josh Ellis. I hope you enjoyed hearing his stories and hearing more about his journey as a business owner and entrepreneur. And again, I'm just so grateful that Josh sat down with me and we could talk and learn more about who he is as a person, how he's become who he is, and where he is in his journey in life right now. So, if you're enjoying the podcast, please make sure to leave us a review, to like, subscribe, share it with somebody, and follow us on all social media platforms. Our username is different across every platform. I don't know what you want me to say, but so find it in our bio, like, subscribe, share it, and we will see you next week for episode 2, our 4th episode.